The freight elevator at Caldwell went to floor 6 at 4:52:29 a.m. The weight sensor said 187 pounds. Camera 7 said it was empty. This happened 14 consecutive nights. Same second every night. Not 4:52:28. Not 4:52:30. The same second to the tick of the mechanical clock in the elevator shaft for 14 nights in a row. The weight log entry for this is WL3394. I weigh 187 pounds. I was on the ground floor every time it happened. Badge 1137 was logged at the first floor security desk at 4:52 on 13 of those 14 nights. Night 14 is the one I'm going to have trouble explaining. The reflection in the elevator door panel was not the same height as me. Caldwell Science Center is a 7-floor research building on the east wing of a university campus, built in 1978. The kind of building that was practical when it was built and has been incrementally renovated around the edges ever since. New HVAC on floors 3 and 4, updated fire suppression on 6 and 7, new card reader system in 2019, but the bones of it still 1978. The freight elevator is original hydraulic, though the cab was replaced in 2004. Winter break runs from mid-December to mid-January. During that window, the building drops to skeleton crew. A few grad students come in during the day for ongoing experiment maintenance. After 6 p.m., the building is empty. After midnight, it's just me. I've been on this post for 4 years. Solo midnight shift, 11 p.m. to 7 a.m. I took it because the university contract came with a housing subsidy, on-campus staff housing, which in this city is meaningful. It's quiet work. Labs don't break into themselves. The man I replaced was named Featherstone. He'd worked the post for 11 years. He retired unexpectedly, a cardiac event during a shift, mild enough that he walked out of it, but his doctor told him no more solo overnight work, and he took the retirement his years had earned him. Before he left, he pinned a small index card to the desk lamp in the security office. 7 items, written in a small, precise hand. He called them things he'd found useful, or something like that. I'm going by memory of what he told me when he handed over the post. I still have the card. It's still on the lamp. Don't ride the freight elevator between 4 and 5 a.m. No explanation. That was it. I thought it was a mechanical thing. Hydraulic systems in old elevators can behave oddly at certain temperatures. The fluid thickens, the response time changes, you get jerky starts and slow descents. A 4 a.m. hydraulic anomaly is plausible in a building this old in a cold month. For 4 years, I didn't ride the freight elevator between 4 and 5 a.m. Then December came, and the weight alert started, and I stopped being able to write it off as a mechanical thing. Night 1 was a Wednesday in December. I was at the desk at 4:52 a.m. doing the last camera sweep before the 5 a.m. round. The building management system alert came through on the desk terminal. Load alert, freight elevator, 4:52:29, 187 Lilbes, floor 6 arrival. The freight elevator has a load sensor for safety monitoring. Building management configured it to alert the desk if the elevator registers a load during off hours. It's a theft prevention measure mostly to flag unauthorized cargo movement at night. I'd never received a load alert in 4 years. I checked camera 7. Camera 7 is mounted in the upper right corner of the freight elevator cab. Wide-angle lens covering the full interior. The image was clear. Elevator interior, empty. Gray stainless steel walls, anti-scuff floor mat, the load indicator panel on the right side. No person, no object, no cargo. Just the mat and the walls and the quiet light of the car at rest. I checked camera 9. Camera 9 covers the floor 6 freight elevator lobby, the short corridor between the elevator doors and the fire door leading to the lab wing. No one there. The elevator door had opened and stayed open for approximately 40 seconds, then closed. Camera 9 showed empty corridor throughout. I checked the floor access log. No badge entries on floor 6 after 11 p.m. I checked the whole building access log. No entries at all after midnight. Just my badge, 1137, tagged to the first floor desk at 11:30 p.m. and not moved. I logged it. Fall inning, load alert, freight elevator, 187 pounds, floor 6, camera 7 shows empty cab, possible sensor fault, and I flagged it for maintenance in the morning. I almost forgot about it by the time maintenance came. Night 2, 4:52:29 a.m. The alert came again. This is where the timestamp starts to matter. The building management system's load alert doesn't just say 4:52. It says 4:52:29, hours, minutes, seconds. The system clock is synced daily to the campus network time server. Night 2, weight 187 pounds, floor 6, camera 7, empty. Night 3, 4/20, weight 187 pounds, floor 6, camera 7, empty. Same second, 3 nights running. I called building maintenance on the morning after night 3. A technician named Horowitz came out and spent the morning on the elevator. He ran the full load cell diagnostic. The sensor was calibrated correctly. He checked against a known weight, 2 maintenance carts, combined weight documented from their spec sheets. The sensor was accurate. He wrote in his report, load sensor functioning within calibration tolerances. Reading on alert nights is a valid measurement. Elevator traveled to floor 6 at the indicated time. Load registered. Cause of load with no visible cargo, not determined. Recommend camera hardware inspection. He underlined functioning within calibration tolerances. The camera was checked the following week. Hardware normal, lens, sensor, recording unit, everything nominal. Night 4 through night 9, 4:52:29, 187 pounds, floor 6. Camera 7, empty. I built a parallel log, a notebook beside the terminal, 1 line per night. Time, weight, camera status, floor, my location. 7 nights of the same entry. My weight is 187 pounds. I know this because the Campus Wellness Center has a scale I use on Fridays, and it has read 187 for the last 18 months. That detail stopped being coincidental by night 5. By night 7, I was watching the camera 7 footage very carefully. The elevator car has a stainless steel floor mat, thick anti-scuff rubber bonded to a steel plate, standard freight elevator spec. The surrounding floor is brushed stainless. In a hydraulic elevator under load, the floor plate deflects microscopically, not visible to the eye, but visible in the reflection on the stainless steel side panels, if you know what you're looking for. I'd worked around freight elevators for years. I knew what a loaded car looked like in its own reflections. Night 7. I pulled the camera 7 footage on my desk terminal and zoomed into the lower portion of the frame, the floor and the lower 6 inches of the side panels. The side panel reflection showed the floor mat with a central depression. The floor was responding to weight, the weight that the camera said wasn't there. I sat with that for a while. The fluorescent in the security office makes a sound at this time of night, a high-frequency hum that I've stopped hearing consciously, but that's always there, threading through the silence. That night I heard it. I was aware of every sound in the building, the HVAC on the 3rd floor, the vending machine on level 2 cycling its compressor, the particular silence that lives in the stairwells after midnight when there's no one moving through them to displace the air. And the elevator, not its sound, it wasn't moving, but its presence, the knowledge that something I couldn't explain had been traveling in it for 8 nights. Night 8, I enhanced the footage again. The depression was consistent. Each night, same location. Center of the car, approximately the footprint of an adult standing with weight distributed evenly across both feet. The floor was being compressed by something that camera 7 could not see. Step 2 Look, Part 1 Iwantung. Night 10, I went to floor 6 to watch it happen in person. I timed my departure from the desk to arrive at the floor 6 freight elevator lobby at 4:50 a.m., 2 minutes before the event. I stood in the lobby. Camera 9 was recording. I could see the red indicator light above the camera housing. I had my flashlight. I had my patrol log. At 4:52:29, I heard the elevator. The freight elevator at Caldwell has a distinctive approach sound. A low hydraulic groan as the counterweight shifts, then the hiss of the safety brake releasing, then the mechanical thud of the car arriving at floor level. I know that sound from 4 years of working next to it. I know it the way you know a familiar appliance sound, not as something you think about, just something you recognize. The car arrived. The door opened. Interior, empty. Same as camera 7 had been showing me for 10 nights. Brushed steel walls, floor mat, load panel. The overhead fluorescent in the car was on. The car lights activate on arrival. Clean, clear, empty. I walked to the open doorway and looked in. I shone the flashlight across the floor. No person, no object, no visible disturbance. I stepped into the doorway, not inside, just the threshold, and looked at the floor mat. The central depression was there, subtle, but there. The same deformation I'd seen in the camera 7 reflections, now in person. The center of the floor mat, sitting approximately 1 centimeter lower than the edges. The kind of compression that happens under approximately 180 to 190 pounds of static weight. I put my foot on the center of the mat, pressing down. The mat gave. That's normal. Rubber compresses. But it gave less than it should have for just my foot, as if I was pressing against something that was already compressing the mat from above. As if the mat was already partially compressed, and my additional weight was adding to a load already present. I pulled my foot back. The central depression remained. I watched it for about 15 seconds. Just stood in the doorway with the flashlight on the floor. At 4:53:10, 41 seconds after arrival, the elevator door began its automatic close cycle. I stepped back. The door closed. The car ascended 1 floor, then descended to ground, then held. Its normal standby routine. I wrote in the parallel log, Night 10, physical observation, floor 6 lobby, floor depression confirmed in person, additional weight felt under foot pressure on mat center, duration of presence approx 40 seconds, consistent with prior camera 7 recordings, no visible occupant. I looked at that last line. I crossed out no visible occupant. I wrote occupant not visually detected. I don't know if that's a meaningful distinction. It felt like one. Night 11 is when I first noticed the reflection. I was back at the floor 6 lobby for the second live observation. This time I positioned myself differently, standing to the side of the doorway rather than directly in front of it, so I could observe the elevator interior obliquely through the gap between the door edge and the frame. At 4:52:29, the car arrived. Door opened. I watched the interior from the side, and then I looked at the door panel. The elevator door is a single brushed stainless steel sliding panel. When it's fully open, it sits folded against the left side of the cab frame. The surface is brushed metal, not mirror polished, but reflective enough to show shapes. The kind of reflection that gives you outlines and proportions but not detail. In the reflection of the open door panel, I could see the elevator interior, the far wall, the load panel, the ceiling light, and something else. A shape in the reflection at approximately head height near the center of the car. Not a solid shape, not a defined human outline, more like a density, the way heat shimmer looks over a surface on a hot day, a slight visual distortion that your eye catches because it doesn't belong. The shape was there. I was looking at the elevator from outside. Camera 9 behind me was recording everything I did. I took out my phone and photographed the door panel reflection. When I got back to the desk, I pulled the camera 9 footage to check my own position. I was standing 6 feet from the elevator opening, at the 7 o'clock position relative to the door. Clear shot. In the camera 9 footage, the elevator interior, visible through the open door, was empty. In my phone photograph of the door panel reflection, the shape was visible. 2 simultaneous recordings of the same space, 1 second apart. One showed empty, one showed something. I stared at the photograph for a long time. The shape was at head height, approximately 5 feet 10, my height. But I was 6 feet from the opening when I took the photograph. Whatever was at that height was inside the elevator. Nights 12 and 13, I tried to get better photographs of the reflection. Night 12, I brought a handheld mirror. The plan was to use the mirror to get a second angle reflection of the door panel, a reflection of a reflection, which might clarify the shape by changing the distortion axis. Didn't work. The mirror at that angle gave me nothing useful, just the corridor behind me and the elevator ceiling. Night 13, I tried positioning a flashlight at a low angle below the elevator floor level to cast upward light that might make the shape cast a shadow on the door panel. Inconclusive. The shape, if it was there, didn't cast a shadow in the way a physical object would. Both nights, the weight log read 187 pounds. Both nights, camera 7 showed empty. I slept very badly on the days between night 13 and night 14. On the morning of night 14, I made a decision. Featherstone had written, "Don't ride the freight elevator between 4 and 5 a.m. I was going to ride it, not at 4:52, before. I'd ride up to floor 6 at 4:50, position myself inside the car, and be present at 4:52:29 when whatever produces the 187-pound reading arrives. I wrote this in my patrol log as a plan. I wrote it clearly so there was a record. Then I stood in the elevator at 4:50 a.m., pressed floor 6, and rode up. The elevator ascent takes approximately 35 seconds at normal hydraulic speed. I stood in the center of the car and looked at the load indicator panel. At rest, just my weight, it read 187 pounds. I looked at camera 7 in the upper right corner. Red recording light on. I looked at the door panel. The door was closed during travel. The stainless surface was to my right. I was looking at my own reflection, my face, my shoulders, the uniform, normal. The elevator stopped at floor 6. The door opened. The corridor outside was empty. Camera 9 lobby, nothing. I stayed inside the car. The door completed its open cycle and held. 4:51, 4:51:30, 4:52. At 4:52:29, the load indicator changed. It read 374 pounds. I watched the display. 374 pounds, exactly twice 187. I was standing still. I had not shifted my weight. I had not jumped or leaned. The display read 374 pounds. I looked at camera 7, red light on, recording. Then I looked at the door panel. The door was open, folded against the left frame. The panel was visible, and in the brushed stainless reflection, I could see the elevator interior behind me. My legs, from approximately knee level, the load indicator panel, the floor mat, and beside my legs at a height of approximately 4 feet, approximately the height of a 10 or 11-year-old child, a shape, not solid, not defined, but there, a density in the reflection that occupied space. It did not move. I looked at it for 3 seconds. I counted. At 4:52:35, the load indicator returned to 187 pounds. The shape in the reflection was gone. The elevator door began its close cycle. I stepped out onto floor 6 before the door closed. I stood in the lobby and breathed through my nose for a while. Then I went back to the desk and wrote up the parallel log. Step 36, Part 2. E1 ton. The load indicator read 374 pounds for 6 seconds. I've thought about those 6 seconds more than anything else from that shift. 374 pounds is twice 187. That's clean arithmetic. If there were 2 people in that elevator, each weighing 187 pounds, the display would read 374. The elevator capacity is rated for up to 2,000 pounds of cargo, so the display has room for that reading, and it's not a ceiling artifact. The sensor doesn't pin at maximum and hold. 2 people, each weighing 187 pounds. I weigh 187 pounds. Camera 7, the following morning when I reviewed the footage, showed one figure in the elevator at 4:52:29. Me. One figure, 374 pounds for 6 seconds, then back to 187. I went home after my shift and slept for 5 hours. Then I got up and started looking. I don't have access to university facilities records. I'm a contracted security guard. My clearance covers the building management system, the access logs, the camera network, and the alarm panel. Facilities records are a separate system, but the university library archives are public to campus affiliates, and my contract gives me affiliate status. I drove to the library that afternoon. I wanted to find any record of a building incident in the freight elevator. Anything from Caldwell's history that might connect to what I was seeing. University libraries keep facilities incident reports in their institutional archives when the incidents resulted in formal documentation. I asked the archivist on duty to pull anything related to Caldwell Science Center freight elevator maintenance or incidents. She found 3 reports. The most recent was from 2019, the cab replacement. Before that, a 2007 mechanical overhaul. The third was from February 1994. The report was filed by the Facilities Department following a maintenance incident on February 14, 1994. A facilities inspector had performed an off-hours freight elevator inspection and had become trapped when the car stalled between floors. He was recovered when the morning crew arrived. He was uninjured. The inspection log attached to the report included a weight entry for the elevator during the incident period. Weight log entry: WL3 load reading at 04:52 a.m. February 14, 1994, 374 pounds. The inspector's name was listed in the report. J. Featherstone, James Featherstone. Employee weight on record per building department HR 187 pounds. I sat with the report for about 10 minutes. The weight log entry from 1994 was WL3394. My building management system alert from night 1, 32 years later, was also WL3394. Same entry, 2 dates, 32 years apart. I called Featherstone, my Featherstone, the man I'd replaced, the one who'd left the index card. He's alive, retired, living 4 blocks from campus. I had his number from the post handover paperwork. He picked up on the 3rd ring. I told him I'd found a facilities report from 1994, that I'd found a name. He was quiet for a moment, then he said, "What name?" I said, "James Featherstone, J. Featherstone, listed as facilities inspector." Longer pause. "That's my father," he said. He worked in facilities for 23 years. I asked him what had happened to his father. He said his father had died in February 1994, a cardiac event in the elevator during an inspection. He'd been between floors when it happened. The morning crew found him. He died at the hospital that afternoon, not trapped and recovered, as the 1994 report said. He died. I checked the report again later. It said recovered and uninjured. Those words were accurate as of the time the report was filed, early morning of February 14th. His father died that afternoon. The report closed the incident as resolved. No follow-up documentation. I asked Featherstone, my Featherstone, why he'd left the index card. He said he didn't talk about his father much, but he knew the elevator. He'd been in the building since he was a boy, visiting his father during summer shifts. He knew the freight elevator. He knew what his father had been doing when he died. He knew the time. He said 4:52 in the morning. That's when the alarm went off. He said he'd written the card on his first shift. He'd figured, if something is in a place, it stays in a place. If it happened there once, it might happen there again. Maybe not to him, but to whoever came next. He hadn't explained it because he didn't know how to explain it in a way that didn't sound like grief talking. I thanked him. He said, "Did something happen?" I told him the elevator had been triggering weight alerts. I told him the sensor read 187 pounds on the nights in question. He was quiet. Then he said, "My father weighed 187 pounds." I didn't know what to say to that. He said, "Don't ride the elevator between 4 and 5. I said, "I know. I found the card." He said he was sorry he hadn't explained it better. We hung up. I've been thinking about the shape in the reflection. At approximately 4 feet of height, not my height, not Featherstone Sr.'s height, he was a tall man per his employee record, 6'1", 4 feet. I don't know what that means. I've turned it over from every angle I can think of. The weight log says 374. 2 people weighing 187 pounds each. His father was 187. I am 187. The camera shows one figure, me, but the reflection showed something else. Not at 6'1", not at my height, at 4 feet. I've gone back to the 1994 report twice since the library visit. I requested a full copy through the campus archives portal. The archivist sent me 12 pages, the original report plus attachments. Page 9 is a handwritten note appended by a facilities supervisor, dated February 16th, 2 days after James Featherstone's death. The supervisor wrote, "Inspector Featherstone's personal effects recovered from elevator cab include flashlight, inspection log, key ring, and 1 photograph. Photograph shows J. Featherstone with a young boy, approximate age 8 to 10, identified as his son. Photograph returned to family. A young boy, approximately 8 to 10 years old, the man who came to work at Caldwell after his father, who gave me the index card, who is, I would estimate, in his mid-60s now. At 8 to 10 years old, you are approximately 4 feet tall. I want to be careful about where I take that. I'm a night security guard. I make logical notes, and I file reports, and I deal in what's verifiable. What's verifiable is weight log, camera footage, reflections in brushed stainless steel, a 1994 incident report, an employee weight record. What is not verifiable is what the shape in the reflection was. What is not verifiable is why the load indicator read 374 pounds for 6 seconds and then returned to 187. What is not verifiable is why the weight alert stopped on night 15. I think about Featherstone Sr. in the elevator at 4:52 a.m. on February 14th, 1994. I think about how it's possible that a man dies in a specific place at a specific time, and something in that place holds the memory of it. Not consciously, not deliberately, the way a place holds the temperature of a cold night even after the sun has come up, the way an old building holds sounds in its walls. I don't know if that's what happened. I think about the fact that the weight log entry number is the same, WL3394, 32 years later, whether that's a database loop, a numbering coincidence, or something that doesn't have a clean category. I think about the index card. 7 items. Small, precise handwriting. Item 4 is 4 words. 4 words for 32 years of a specific 4:52 a.m. There's a practical dimension I've been staying focused on. The university's facilities department doesn't know about the weight alerts. I filed the initial reports with building management, not facilities. The systems are separate, managed by different departments. The campus security contract manager knows I logged anomalous elevator behavior, but the report was classified as a sensor calibration concern and filed at the building level. No one knows about WL3394. No one knows about the 1994 incident report. No one knows about the shape in the reflection. Featherstone, my Featherstone, knows I called him, and knows what I told him, and knows I understand about his father. He asked me not to file anything that named his father. I told him I wouldn't. I haven't. This recording doesn't have my name on it, and it doesn't have James Featherstone's name on it. I'm telling it because I think some things need to be said out loud at 3 a.m., even if you can't put them in a report. I've been on the Caldwell Post for 4 years, 2 months, and 18 days. I haven't put in for a transfer. I haven't ridden the freight elevator between 4 and 5 a.m. since night 14. The wait alert stopped after night 14. Not gradually, just stopped. Night 15, no alert. Every night since. Wait log WL3394 has not generated a new entry. The load indicator in the elevator reads correctly during the day. The facility's crew uses it without incident. They don't know anything happened. I still have the index card pinned to the desk lamp. Item 4 is still legible. I've thought about adding a note below it for whoever comes after me. I haven't figured out what to write. Don't ride the freight elevator between 4 and 5 a.m. covered the practical instruction. I don't know how to add to that without getting into the wait log and the reflection, and a man who worked in this building for 23 years and whose son left me a card with 7 things worth remembering. Some things you can write on an index card, some things you can't. The reflection in the door panel was not the same height as me. I don't know whose height it was. I don't think I'm going to find out.